Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So here we are with another exhaust video. As you guys know, I'm kind of on an exhaust experiment. I'm on a chase to find the most perfect note that I can find for my car, given the parts and everything that I'm running, which is Grimspeed catted downpipe with the Killer Bee Holy equal length headers. The last exhaust video that you guys saw was the Cobb Titanium, which I have been running for about 3 weeks now. It has been fantastic. It sounds really, really good, and it provides a really nice exhaust note on equal length headers. Now, if you've been following my videos, you know that I wanted to try a few other exhausts. And, you know, just because I'm taking this one off doesn't mean I don't like it, doesn't mean I'm tired of it, doesn't mean it doesn't sound good or look good or whatever. It's simply because I am trying to find the perfect note for me. So don't get all bent out of shape that I'm taking this one off to try something out. I may end up liking this even more and putting it back on. So I just wanted to put that out there first. But the other exhaust that I really wanted to try was the AWE Touring. Now, this is probably one of the most requested exhausts that people wanted me to try. And this is also one of the versions that I really personally wanted to own and install on my car, even before I did equal length headers. This was something that I always had my eye on. I actually was talking with AWE a few years ago, but I never ended up following through with it. And I was just so happy with my first exhaust, which was from Delta Motorworks, that I never really had the need or want to really try anything else. Since changing my setup, the Delta Motorworks with the no resonators and no mufflers was just insanely loud. And it was too raspy. So again, I'm trying to find that happy medium where it's not too loud, but it's not too quiet. Now, the Cobb Titanium, as I mentioned, sounds really good. If you guys are curious to hear what it sounds like, just some quick clips, check in the top right corner. When I installed it, I did a few drive-bys and stuff. I am gonna do a full video with, you know, sound clips of actually doing drive-bys and revving and all that stuff to compare it to the AWE Touring, just so you guys can have a comparison. But for now, go back and check that video if you would like to hear what it sounds like. It sounds very good. It is a little bit on the quiet side, which I was actually shocked how much I actually liked it. It is really nice on the inside. There is no drone with my setup. My kids love it. I'm able to hear a conversation with them in the car, which is kind of unheard of with my setups that I usually run, which is very loud. So it was kind of nice to kind of tone it down a little bit, not just be after loudness and kind of, you know, find that chase for something that just sounds good. It has really good tone. You know, the volume is just kind of what comes second. But the Cobb is known to be a little bit quiet. It's on the quieter side, which I expected. But again, it sounds very good. So insert the AWE Touring. Now, this is different material, obviously, than what I'm running. The Cobb is made out of titanium, so it has that very specific titanium tinny bark sounding that I like to call it. The AWE Touring is made out of stainless, so it is going to provide a different sound right off the bat. But also, I believe this is going to be a smidge louder, which is kind of what I'm after. I want something a little bit louder than the Cobb, but I want something quieter than the Delta that I was running prior. So this may be the ticket. The only other one that really strikes my interest that I would like to try if I don't like the Touring is the NVIDIA R400. Mainly because the mufflers out back are smaller, so I may provide a little bit more volume and a little bit different tone, but who knows? Let's go ahead, let's unbox the Touring. Let's see what it's like. This is a really beautiful exhaust. They're made in the US. I know a lot of people run this and it sounds really good. It supposedly has zero drone, which I'm really happy about. So I will put that to the test with my setup. Also, there are two options for tips. You can get the normal stainless steel chrome looking ones, or you can get the black chrome, which is what I chose. I'm not a really big fan of chrome shiny things on cars. I like the subtle, darker gunmetal black look stuff. So I went with the gloss black tips. Also, they do offer a track version. A lot of people were telling me to get that one. That's just kind of silly to try that out because that is literally exactly what my Delta Motorworks setup was. So there's really no need to try that. But the really cool thing about this exhaust is if I feel like going louder, if I want to be obnoxious, all I need to do is just get the track axle back, basically the muffler delete, and I could just slip it right onto the Catback, to the mid pipe. So I can change back and forth if I want to be loud, if I want to be quiet, which is a really cool option. I may just pick them up just for the heck of it, just to have that option to change back and forth. But first, I want to try out the Touring, see what I think of it, see if it's loud enough, see if it's the tone that I'm looking for. and then we'll go from there. But enough talking, enough chatting. Let's open up the AWE Touring, check it out, see what's in the box, and see what it's all about. So there we go. We got it out of the box. Absolutely beautiful. First thing I notice, obviously, is the piping is pretty massive. This is full 3-inch piping from the mid pipe all the way back. Everything is 3-inch, which is really nice. Those are some pretty big mufflers. I was not expecting them to be so large. Just having both the Cobb and the AWE Touring next to each other and seeing them in person, these mufflers look much bigger. So we shall see how much quieter or louder it may be. Hopefully it's a little bit louder, but that is for another video once we install it on the car. But everything looks really nice in terms of the overall quality. To me, it looks nice. It's not top of the line. If I laid the Cobb titanium next to this, there's a clear difference of which one is a little bit higher quality in terms of welding and just the overall look of it. The Cobb is just much prettier in general. It's titanium, of course. The welds look nice. It's nothing crazy. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's the greatest thing in the world, but it is definitely a nice exhaust. This is about I think it was like 1,300. So it's very, very reasonable compared to the Cobb, which is like $2,000. So it's definitely a little bit less expensive for sure. I think that's why this one may be a little bit more popular, because it's a little bit more, I guess, reasonable in terms of cost. But like I said, everything is really, really nice looking. The mufflers over here, they have their 180 technology mufflers, which help reduce the drone, which help reduce all raspiness and everything. It gives a really solid, nice deep bass tone. This exhaust, in my mind and what I'm thinking, should add a little bit more bass to my sound, a little bit more bass to the tone. The titanium, as I mentioned, is a little bit tinier, a little bit higher pitched, whereas stainless is going to be a little bit deeper and bassier. So I'm hoping that with this exhaust, it does the trick and gives it a little bit deeper note. But it is a very, very similar design in terms of, the actual shape of everything. I'm always so curious of all the different exhaust companies, of how they actually bend all their tubing and just kind of what they do to make their best version of the exhaust for this car. It's always cool to see the engineering and everything behind it. Let's go over to the workbench and check out the tips that I got. Like I mentioned, these are the gloss black tips, which are really nice. They're actually 4 inches as opposed to the Cobb, which is actually larger than any of the other tips that I've ran on any other exhaust on this car. Everything that I've ran prior has been 3.5 inch. So these big boys are 4 inches, pretty massive. So I'm curious to see how it looks on the rear end. I think it's going to look good. But hopefully it doesn't look too goofy. I think 3.5 inch looks really good on the back of this car. Sometimes, going a little bit larger can look a little cartoony in my eyes. I really like the logo on there. It's not too in your face. They do have it on each tip like the Cobb. Cobb's a little bit more in your face in terms of, the branding. This is a little bit more subtle, which is nice. These tips are double walled. So as you can see, there's an inside to it. It's not just single walled. So that adds a little nice higher quality look to the tips, whereas the Cobb is just single wall, as well as my Delta Motor Works was single wall as well. But you did have an option for the Delta to go single or double. Personal preference, I'm a bigger fan of single walled exhausts. I may be the minority there, but I just think double walled tends to look a little bit smaller on the car, since it kind of closes the inside of the tip a little bit, so it tends to look a little bit smaller on the car. But either way, these are pretty darn massive, so it should look really good. I'm really happy I went with the black instead of the chrome. I think chrome would have been a little too much. It does look good, but overall, I think this is just a nicer look in my eyes. I've heard that these, can scratch and mar easier, obviously, than the chrome ones. In general, I'm a little bit more careful than others. I'm just kind of a nut when it comes to detailing, so I'm not too worried about that. But the nice part about it is these tips are removable, obviously. So if one ever gets really beat up or scratched or whatever, I can always replace it. They also include a lollipop, which is kind of cool. It's a little thing that they do all the time with their exhaust. So you also get all the hardware. Can't really see it in the bag, but just like the Cobb exhaust, this is all slip joint, which is fantastic. The only gasket that you're going to need is the one that connects to the downpipe over here. I actually already have a Grimspeed gasket right here, so we are set to go. This is the super thick one. So if we look on the flange here, as you can see, it's kind of beveled in. That is so it can work with the stock downpipe with the donut gasket, because if you ever look on the stock downpipe, there's actually a little lip that slides into the mid pipe here, and there's a gasket that goes around it. But I got the thicker Grimspeed gasket, so I shouldn't have any problems. But ever since I installed the Cobb titanium on this car, I don't think I could ever go back to non-slip joint exhausts. It's just so easy. There's so much adjustability. You can really perfect the fitment. And plus, you don't have to worry about gaskets and them blowing out over time and having exhaust leaks. It's just a really, really nice feature. I don't know why more companies don't do that. You literally just make some cuts in the pipe, you expand it a little bit, and then it slips right over each connection. Then you just use the normal clamps to hold everything down to keep it nice and tight and sealed up. It's super easy to put on, super easy to remove. So I'm a big fan of this type of connection point on exhausts. So in the next video, I'm actually going to be removing the Cobb titanium and installing the AWE Touring. I know you're probably a little disappointed, but as you guys know, my videos are a little bit more detailed than most. So I like to kind of break things down, talk about all the details of what you get in the box, what I initially think when I take it out, and just kind of go over all the nitty-gritty details that normally people don't do. The next video is obviously going to be me installing it, getting a few sound clips and everything, and then ultimately is going to be the sound off video between the Cobb and the AWE Touring. So that video will be at a later date once I get time to get all the sound clips and all the video and everything that I need to get done for that one. But overall, very, very happy that I was able to pick one of these up. Right now, they're a little hard to come by. Every single vendor that I reached out to asking if they had one in stock, everyone said, 8 to 10 weeks out. I mean, just with everything going on right now, everything is delayed, so that was to be expected. But I reached out to my guy, Bryant from Subi Mods. He always hooks me up. He always has some tricks up his sleeves. And sure enough, he had a few coming in. So as soon as he said that he had a few coming in, I placed my order. It took about a week and a half to get to me, which is way better than 10 weeks. So huge shout out to Bryant. Thank you so much once again. He also got me a few other things on the car. He actually hooked me up with the brakes as well and a couple other things around the car. But huge shout out to Bryant. If you guys are looking for this exhaust or anything Subaru related for your WRX or STI, be sure to hit them up. They have great prices and Bryant is a cool dude and he can get you anything that you want. So that is it for this video. I'm not going to do any burning like I did on my Cobb titanium one because it is not going to yield the same results. So we are not doing that in this video, unfortunately. It's just going to stay looking like this with some nice black chrome tips on the back. If you guys have any questions at all about this exhaust or the Cobb titanium or about anything else on the car, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you in the next one.